To get started, you want to match up the ends of your thicker cord and then run it through your fingers to find the centre. Now, finding a focal point on the board to put your centre, you're going to clip both ends of the cord to either end of the board. Next, you want to take your embroidery thread and do the same thing, matching the ends together and run it through your fingers to find the centre. And once you've found the centre, you want to leave a little bit extra at one end because you're going to use this to create a loop. So pull out about a foot of extra at one side, and this is the bit that you're going to use to form your loop. So working from the spot that you marked out, you want to put the loop over the cord and then pull through the other ends through the loop. And this is going to form your first hitch knots. So you want to put one of your embroidery threads out of the way, so the one at the top has been moved out, and then you want to go over and through to form the first half of your next hitch knot. And then ease that into place next to the other one, and then you want to go under and through to complete your first hitch knot. You want to do this until the loop's going to be big enough to fit in your button. How many you do here will depend on the size of your button, so it's a good idea to measure as you go along. So once you've done your hitch knots, make sure they're nice and tight, you can remove the cord from the board. And then keeping everything nice and secure in place, you can just bend it gently and then try your button for size. And if necessary, you can add a few more knots before you move on to the next stage. Once you're happy that the loop's the right size, you can attach it to the top of your board. And then you want to take your two thickest cords with an embroidery thread at either side and attach those to the bottom of your board. So to complete the loop and hold everything in place, I'm going to do a couple of square knots to start off. And you can adjust here if necessary, just to make sure there's no cord showing through underneath the embroidery threads. And then do the second half of your square knot. Once you've done that, you can remove the bottom of the cords from the bottom of the board, and you want to separate these out now because you're going to be working them separately. So now you just want one of the cords at either side, and you want to use one of the embroidery threads over one of the cords. So you're going over and through, and to create the spiral, instead of going under and through next time, you want to once again just go over and through. And you want to do this until you've got the bracelet as long as you want it on one side. And as you work, you'll notice the knots are starting to spiral around the cord. So you can just work the embroidery thread round to the other side, and that'll just help it spiral neatly. So once you've done the first side, it should look like this. And now you want to do the same thing, but on the other side. So I'm pulling the thread through to knot the same way around. You don't have to, you can do it the other way around if you wish. I just find it easier to knot this way if I can. So once again, you're just going to be going over and through, and occasionally moving the thread round if you need to, as it starts to spiral round, until you get this side as long as the other side. So once you've got both sides to the same length, you want to put your embroidery thread to either side of your thicker cord. You're going to do a few square knots just to hold everything in place. So you can put the thicker cords back together at the bottom of the board. And then work a few square knots. You can do as many or as few as you want here. It's entirely down to taste or however long you want it to be. Once you've done your square knots and got them nice and secure, you can remove the bracelet from the board. So you're going to take your button and you want to thread your embroidery thread and your cords through the buttonholes. So I'm going to start with the embroidery thread because it's a bit thinner, so it's easier to get that through first. I'm going to put one at either buttonhole. And next I'm going to thread through the cords. Again, one in either buttonhole. Once they're all threaded, it should look like this, and now you can tie a knot to keep everything in place. You push the knot up right to the end of the button. And then you can trim the ends off. I'm also going to seal with a lighter here, but you can use glue if you prefer. And when you finish, you should end up with something that looks like this.